Hello YouTube, welcome to the Annoyed Me show. It's Have you ever done something and then have it mess up partway through? And then so you decide to do it again. It's alright, okay, I'll just do it again. And it messes up again. You're like, it's really kind of annoying, but I'll do it again. And then you do it again. And it fails again. So you're really kind of frustrated because you have gone through the same thing over and over again, trying to explain something 4 or 5 times. And I mean, this isn't even necessary for me to do. I just feel like doing it. And that's what's the frustrating or annoying or frustrating part about it is that I don't have to do this, but I feel like I want to do this. And every time that it stops, it makes me just wonder why I'm doing this in the first place, even though I sort of know, but it just makes me really annoyed and just so this will be the last time that I'm gonna try it. So update, then more explaining. And I apologize if this video is sort of bleh, but I've done this a few times and I've sort of poured out a bit of things in doing this, so I'm a little bit drained. So, update. I was brought into a band as a bass player. I went to a couple of practices. I was about 2 or 3, and then I probably right now I'm probably no longer in the band, but I've gone into this. I'm hopefully going to be into the second band that I've ever been in, which is another band, and it's pretty interesting. And I have been writing down, copying down, typing down stuff that I've written throughout the years, and it's pretty interesting stuff that I just go through. And this is sort of where it starts with the explanation things, talking about things and explaining them. There's a lot of stuff that hasn't been organized. There's a lot of stuff that has been organized. A good portion of it, a good majority of the stuff that I've ever written, is organized by date, either individually or as a group, because there's stuff that I've written on MySpace, which lasts, I say, about 3 years. No, I say about 4 years. 2007 to 2010. And there's stuff that I have written in notebooks. There's a group of notebooks that have, I'd say, about 2 a year. I'd gone through about 2 a year for, I'd say, about 6 years, 6 to 8 years. So, and there's all this other stuff in between it, stories, homework assignment. Right now, there's a lot of this, a good portion of the stuff that isn't organized. This is one of 2 piles, or one of 3 piles is the shortest pile, and then the third pile of unorganized stuff, some of which isn't actually stuff that I've written or drawn, but there's also this stuff that I've drawn is in other whatever it is, but for the most part it's organized. A good portion of it is actually organized, which I did so that I could organize before I actually forget about things, about when things were done. And so this is sort of where it gets into the heavier stuff, like more explanative, or whatever it is. I feel like I don't have to do this. I don't actually have to do this, but I feel like I want to do it in order to sort of release things, and by going through the things that I've written, I sort of going through them and typing them onto a laptop, onto a computer, onto a Word document. It not only, well, it serves two purposes, two main purposes. The first one is actually to preserve some of these things, because things like, oh, actually, the notebooks, not only the notebooks, but things like this, the play that I wrote, story that I wrote after that, the other story that I wrote after that, the other story that I wrote after that, stuff, poems from the 7th grade. This isn't all my stuff. This is actually the class's stuff. I only have 2 poems. And the whole thing, which accounts to about a page. I only have 1 page of stuff, so, which also is good, because it's good to know this about this, because there's a group of the other poems that I wrote in that year are somewhere else in another. I think they're right here. There might be these things. I'm not sure if it's these things or something else. Could be these. Or wherever they are. They're there. And where's the? Okay. Like a. All right. Okay. The last thing. This from middle school. 8th grade. Stuff that I know is in 8th grade, because I was homeroom 16. So in middle school, that actually no longer exists. It was dozed down to the ground. So it's an interesting experience. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm sort of, with all this stuff. So first, preserve it, and second is to sort of go through myself and sort of look at where I was and what I've gone through, and to sort of, I guess, sum up my whole life so far, or not to sum up my whole life so far, but I mean sum up a good portion of what I have done with my life so far, and sort of with going with that, I guess, it would allow me to sort of, I'm hoping it would give me insight into myself, as well as help me go forward, and sort of just help me be a better me, and a more whole me, or more, whatever it is, more knowledgeable about myself. Even though I know quite a lot about myself, nobody's really the true expert on themselves. But I mean past past selves, or past self, or future, present self, whatever you want to get into it. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Plus, there's a lot of stuff that I went through. I mean, right now I'm only in the very beginning of middle school, so about 6th grade right now. And I don't mean myself right now, because I'm in the 6th year of college. So I'm in my 6th year of college, but right now I'm copying things that I've done in 6th grade, which was pretty much the start of my depression. And even though I've done a bit of stuff, but I mean, it's sort of, and also it's rare that I actually wrote down how I felt, and going through that, copying that down is sort of like transferring the memory, well, preserving stuff, but I mean, it's sort of getting past those barriers or whatever it is, getting that there and then moving past it, not just avoiding it, but going through it and realizing that, or remembering that that was how I was at that point in time. It was just well, it's a record of what I did, and how I felt, and what was going on in my mind and my creativity and stuff like that. But that was me then, and look how far I've gotten since then. And it's a very interesting thing to just go through. I mean, I would recommend, if you actually have some things, if you have things that you I, I'm not gonna I'm not actually talking to one person, but I mean, any of you actually have certain things that you've written, whether they're journals, stories, poems, plays, musical, what have you, diaries, that you go through them and you copy them down onto uh, no, onto some sort of document on a computer. You don't have to sort of you don't have to share it with anyone. You can just keep it on your computer and do nothing else with it. But by going through those words and typing them down, you'll sort of I feel like it should be some sort of help, and it's sort of a self therapy, and it should help you go through, uh, feel a bit better. I don't know about specifics, but I mean, with going through all this stuff, I've gone through stuff before, and I've written stuff down, I've copied stuff down, and I feel a bit better. And with all the stuff that I've done, and this, I mean, in the literary sense, I mean, if I was to actually pile together everything that I've written, including the blogs, the MySpace blogs, well, the MySpace blogs alone are about 140 pages of blogs. Uh, so, if I was to actually accumulate and put everything that I've done into a pile, it would be about, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was about that tall. So about as tall as this laptop is wide. So about it's about a foot and a half of stuff, at least a foot and a half worth of paper. Probably about at least about a foot and a half worth of paper, of notebooks, papers, stuff like that. Well, that's pretty much it. It is what it is, paper, but uh, different types of stuff. At least around a foot to a foot and a half of stuff. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to just go through, and a lot of emotions, just the whole roller coaster of emotions. Because well, right now I've gone through third grade, I've gone through fifth grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. There's stuff between fifth, sixth grade. So it goes from down and up and down. I mean, even when I had sort of when I was clinically depressed, I had the ups. I still had ups. I wasn't just entirely depressed the whole time. There were times when I was just incredibly depressed. But even then, I felt there's relative highs, I guess, or I mean, there were times when I wasn't down, so it wasn't a 24/7 thing. I mean, there were depending on what year it was. I mean, I don't think it was ever. I don't know if it was 24/7. It was. I don't think it was 24/7, but it was. There were highs and lows, and there's a lot of stuff that went on. I mean, that went on for about 7 years, 6, 7 years. I mean, just not being able to. Well, not being able to, but I mean, before I was able to be fully helped, and then helped by friends as well. And since then, things have gotten a lot better. And I have a lot of people to thank. A lot of people to thank. And all this stuff. Wait, pause a second. And all this stuff, I just feel going through this is just relieving. Even if it's not the first time I've done it. And I feel like, but yeah, things have gotten a lot better, and I've felt a lot better about things. But yeah, uh, yeah, this is one of my multiple projects that I'm going to be going through, and it's going to be pretty fun, pretty interesting to. Also very tedious to go through all the notebooks and the handwriting and just look at page after page after page after page after page after page, etc., 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 of just stuff that I've written, and it's it's going to be crazy, but it's going to be fun because it's stuff that I've written. It sort of shows the evolution of my psyche and the evolution of my storytelling and stuff that's going on. Because an interesting thing is that even about fourth, fifth grade, I was doing stuff that was sort of breaking the fourth wall, which I thought was pretty funny at that time and as well as now. And so I'm going through all these stuff, and it's pretty fun. And really, there's only rare times that I just feel sad about stuff that I've written, and that would include one of the things that's seventh grade. I'm guessing about seventh grade, and but yeah, a lot of stuff. Even especially since it's been some of the stuff. It's been about 10 years since I've even, well, probably not since I've looked at this stuff, but since I've thoroughly gone through it. There's stuff that I feel like I I could improve upon or continue and expand or at least correct. But right now it's just copying them down, and so well, it also especially in the earlier years, it shows my progression as a speller and learning how to spell correctly and work out sentences and grammatical things. So it's pretty interesting. And one of the really interesting things is that I was about 7 or 8, third grade, and I could spell lightsaber, but I could not spell wooden, as in a wooden frog, like a frog made out of wood. I couldn't spell wooden, but I could spell lightsaber. I don't know. It's the weird things that you find that you can't spell, and the weirder things that you can spell. So, uh, yeah, it also brings back nostalgia and great and interesting memories. But yeah, I would recommend people doing that. And for the people that actually have my Facebook or Twitter, I'm not sure whether I'm gonna actually. Well, people comment down below on whether you actually want this to be on my face, whether you want the stuff that I'm going to actually copy down and most likely, I don't know if I'm going to actually copy all of it. Well, I'm going to copy it down, but I mean put it all online or just selective stuff. But comment down below if you want me to actually uh, put it on my Facebook or my Tumblr. I don't know if I said Twitter or something like that before, but it's between Facebook and Tumblr. Whether you want me to put it on my Facebook account or Tumblr account, comment down below. Either just Facebook or Tumblr explaining why, and or explaining why if you feel like actually going into that depth. My hand is a seal. Yeah. And, yeah. It's a pretty long video, but I had a lot of stuff to say, and I've said it multiple times already today. So, also I don't know when to end the video. Sometimes I guess I don't know when to end the video. When I'm just rambling on and on and on and on and on, and I still think of more things to say, but I don't want it to be too long, so says the person who made an hour-and-a-half video, but that's unlisted, so only a few people will be able to actually watch it. Technically right now nobody, because I haven't listed it on my Facebook, so I haven't put the link on my Facebook yet, but still, yep, that's pretty much it, and outro, till next time, whenever that is. So, yeah. Usually, I think, I guess, video ends with until next time and then a wave. But I mean, I don't know. But whatever. It's sort of like a conversation. Bye. Bye bye. Okay. Or either that, the wave thing, or just a face. Or a mix. I don't know. But it is interesting to think about. To actually think about and say. And also to think about what you do with your words and with your hands that are sort of imitating, if not consciously, subconsciously imitating people that you've seen in other videos or other things like this. whether or not you actually do that on purpose, or well, not on purpose, whether you do it subconsciously as something, or whether it's just something you feel like doing. But uh, yeah, it's just interesting to think about. So next time, it's gone on way too long. The last 4 minutes are just blah, not blah, but blah. I don't know. It's a face. It's a face. Ha ha ha. It's a face. It is a face. That should be where I end it.